Hello, everybody. Dale Dickerson, Coach Jason Russell here. Coach, we talked last week about Lewisburg's team. Thought maybe it was the best team they had. After watching last week, I certainly believe it, and I certainly believe it's the best quarterback they've ever had down at
Yeah,
Lewisburg.
yeah. Gunnar Gilmore makes them go. I mean, he's unbelievable. If they get a guy open, he finds them. Tough, hard nosed, ran the ball really well. Hurt us run in the run game. The running backs really didn't hurt us. It was just really him that hurt us in the run game. And no, hats off to them. Great football team. Like I said, I think it's the best Lewisburg team they've ever had. We got stuff that we've got to get fixed on our side, but hats off to them. They're a great football team.
Yeah, we were handicapped a little bit. Had several players that were hurt, and people playing their first actual game, maybe in some critical positions on defense, and that's not a recipe for success.
Well, what you see is you see a lack of experience. You see a bunch of youth in our secondary. We have two returning starters on defense. And, it is the fourth game, so a lot of people think, hey, look, it's the fourth game. We should have some experience. But the guys that don't have experience, we've had a bunch of injuries in those spots. So while it's the fourth game, most of those guys that were playing in our secondary on Friday night, it was their first game. So yeah, that's the frustrating part about it is by the fourth game you'd expect to have some experience and not make so many first game type errors, but we're making those errors because it's a new guy out there every single week because of the injuries.
Okay, let's talk about our offense. Our offense had a pretty good ball game at halftime. The total yardage was only a 10-yard difference, and it was pretty close even at the end of the game. So our offense really performed pretty well. We just got stuck on several drives inside the red zone and just never could get either a first down or a score.
Yeah.
It really hurt us.
Well, they play a 3-3 stack cover three, and the what that defense is designed to do is to bend but don't break, keep everything in front of you, make you have to earn it all the way down the field. And we did that for the most part. We got it into the red zone multiple times. We had 3 drives stall out within the 10-yard line. If we put those on there, we put up 43 points. I mean, we played really pretty well offensively, had 389 yards. We had a bunch of rushing yards, 225 rushing yards, 160-something passing. I mean, a game statistically, you look at offensively that we played very well, and 22 points, not awful. Obviously, the 43 would be a whole lot better, and we've got to finish drives in the red zone. It's one of our goals that we finish every drive that we get into the red zone. So that's something we'll look at. We had a couple plays that we look at. We threw a fade in the end zone. We were really dominating the run game. I'd like to go back and run that ball, and we did. We got it back down there later, and we did call the run, and we just ran it in. But I got a 6'4" receiver on a 5'9" corner. I kind of wanted to take advantage of that, and so there's things that we can get better on offensively. But all in all, we played a pretty good game there.
Well, when you talk about that particular play, people say the play didn't work. Well, the play was an actual great call. The execution is what makes a difference. Coach can make a great call, but if it's not executed correctly, then it doesn't make any difference whether it's a good call or a bad call.
That's right. When you run a goal line fade, when you run a fade within the 10 from the 10 and in, basically, which was what it was. We were about, I think, on the 11-yard line at the time. You have to spend a little bit of time at the line of scrimmage as a receiver, and we just we didn't execute it well. We just didn't spend enough time at the line of scrimmage, and so we got into the end zone too early. And so we weren't running towards the fade. Instead, we were actually standing in the end zone, waiting on the fade. And at that point, the defender was able to put his hand in our chest and push us back, and we weren't able to jump ball for it. They could have called a pass interference on it, honestly, but it's, you can't count on that happening.
Yeah.
I thought it was one of the best officiated games we've had in a long time.
It was a very good officiated game, and our penalties were way down, and we were pretty crisp like that. We just, we had a couple of small ones, but we really made a big improvement on that particular issue.
Yeah, I was proud of our kids for that. There's a lot of things like that I am proud of the kids. They came out, they fought hard, they never gave up. Even in the end of the game, we still drove the ball. We still executed. We still did everything and played hard the entire game. There's a lot of lessons and a lot of good things that our kids did. Obviously, there's things we want to fix and there's things we want to get better at. And the main thing is our defensive coverage. And we're we met all day yesterday, and we're working on it. We're trying to get that fixed and trying to simplify some things so that our guys can not get confused in coverage, since we do have so many new guys out there. And I think that's if you take away any kind of confusion, I do think we have the athletes to get it done. So that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, we talked a little bit before that we got on the air today about big plays. Again, big plays bit us on the defensive side. And the rest of the game, pretty well stuffed them, but big plays that end up with scores or get you right down to the goal line really hurt.
You look at the stat sheet, and defensively, or their offense completed less than 50% of their passes. So they completed less than 50% of their passes. We played well at times, and that's what's so frustrating is you take away 6 or 7 plays where we just completely busted, and they found a guy running wide open. And again, credit to Gunner. I said it earlier. He finds if they got a guy open, he finds that guy. But now when we were in coverage and we were in position and didn't get confused, again, they completed less than 50% of their passes. But we cannot have the mental lapses where we give them the big free play where they're running free.
Yeah, we were talking earlier. We watched some college games this weekend, and college athletes on the defensive side were getting confused and leaving people wide open. So it's not if that can happen in a college game, it certainly can happen in very young high school kids. So.
Well, and they were the first team that really formationed us and gave us a bunch of formations, and they did. I mean, they're a formation-heavy team, motion-heavy team, and for young kids that are not accustomed to playing, when you start motioning and changing formations and all that kind of stuff, it changes responsibilities, and we get lost in coverage. And again, hats off to them. I thought they had a great game plan for that, and again, Gunner found them every time they were wide open. So.
Okay. Well, we got a few highlights here. We'll look at the first one. I think this is our very first offensive play of the game, and we started off great.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of who we are. This is what we hang our hat on. There's nothing, this is a great play. We're just running a zone read. We've actually got the bubble off of it. They had a plan to stop what we were doing. And our tackles did a great job. So they were basically pinching their ends, and they were taking their inside linebacker and rotating him out to take away the zone read. But our tackles, we've got 2 really good tackles, and Michael Pride and Josh Matthews. And you can see there what they did is they just redirected and walled that guy out, and Raheem just kept it instead of having to throw the bubble. And there's a seam that was left in there because of that, and he just kept hitting that seam and had big run after big run on that. Okay. I think he ended up with rushing for the game. Let's see here. He had 35 yards rushing on 6 carries. So he was averaging.
That's 6 yards a carry.
Exactly. So I mean, the zone read was working. It was working very well, actually.
Okay. All right. Let's look at this second play. I think this was a run by a little flare out to Jerry Wall, and he breaks about 5 or 6 tackles.
Yeah, you can see the story of them as their pursuit. I thought we did a poor job blocking at the receiver position. We're going to do a lot of work this week getting our receiver blocking fixed. But their pursuit was really, really good. We kind of got away from the flare later in the game because the inside stack backers were flying so fast out there. It was hard to get much of an angle, and then we weren't doing a great job blocking on the perimeter. Their guy that was out over our slot receiver was doing a good job of attacking outside, and so again, something we've got to work on this week is that receiver block.
Okay. The next one is our first touchdown, and unfortunately, the camera didn't actually catch the actual catch, but it was a beautiful pass and throw to Britton Traylor.
Yeah, so right now we're running a 4 vertical scheme right now, just basically to hold the safety in the middle of the field, because their safety I felt like is to me is their best defensive player. He's sideline to sideline, makes plays everywhere. So we had to put something towards him to hold him where he was, and I felt like one-on-one we could win the matchup on the fade. So we threw the 4 vertical concept there simply just to throw the fade to Britton and hold the safety, and it worked out great.
Well, their safety is impressive looking. You don't see many high school kids that's a safety that's 6'2", 200 pounds.
No, he can fly.
He's a big kid.
Makes plays sideline to sideline. I mean, he's everywhere all over the field.
Yes.
I mean, he's a good player.
Yes, he is. All right, let's look at our next one. I think this is the next touchdown. This is Kylan Rhodes. Once he gets beyond the line of scrimmage, and he's gone.
Yeah, we bring in Jerry, put him at H-back right here. He pancakes the guy on our side, all the way to our sideline. And Kylan, of course, just gets just a sliver, and that 4.4 speed. I mean, once he gets out in front of everybody, he's very difficult to catch.
Yep.
Not many people are going to do that.
Nope. All right, and here's our last touchdown. This came, I think, in the fourth quarter. This was Jerry Wall running, and again, he hits a couple of guys, and just they bounce off of him, and he scores.
Yeah, Jerry's such a load. Once we get, this is one of our goal line packages right here. We just we have couple H-backs that come downhill, run block, and Jerry just gets in behind those guys. And once you get a 225-pound I don't know, he may be 235 right now. He's huge. I mean, and athletic, and I mean, once he gets rolling downhill, it's hard to stop that big guy.
Yep, it is. All right, well, we'll put that one in the rearview mirror, and we got homecoming this week. We'll have a lot of festivities, and we'll have a big crowd. So we've got DeSoto Central, so another one of our county rivals. So.
Yeah, unfortunately, the way the schedule aligned, we don't really have. We had to play a really good football team for homecoming. It just is what it is. It's how the schedule aligned. I respect those guys. I think they're a great football team. I think Coach Ford does a good job with them over there, and they're going to be ready to play. It's going to be a tough game. I'm sure they're going to have a chip on their shoulder the fact they're having to play us for homecoming. But we're going to have to come out and play. And once that ball gets snapped, kicked off and first snap, it's going to be like any other ball game, but it's going to be a rivalry game, so it's going to be heated. It'll be a 4-quarter fight, and we're going to be ready for it.
Well, hopefully with a big crowd, that'll give us a home field advantage, and we'll have a good, loud, boisterous crowd to cheer them on and kind of pep the kids up. It's a big difference in playing on the road, and especially no matter whether it's pros or college, but high school especially, I think it helps the kids to have a big crowd behind them.
Well, we're 2-0 right now at Pool Field, so we want to continue that home field advantage, and we ask that everybody comes out and watches and cheers those kids on, and they've been working really hard, and we're ready to fix the problems we got and go out there and be successful this Friday night.
Okay. All right, everybody. Again, homecoming Friday night, DeSoto Central, 7 o'clock. We'd love to see a big crowd out. There's going to be a lot of activities before the game. They've got tailgating and barbecue contest, and all the former homecoming queens are going to be there, as many as possible. So it'll be a really great atmosphere. So if you can't be there, you can tune in to obtvlive.com and watch us. We do appreciate y'all tuning in to our coaches show this week. So see y'all next week.